Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to Season 8, Episode 25 of Tap to Craft Podcast. I am Denny Lewis, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the dog whisperer, and my favorite Florida man from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Chris McKenzie. How are you doing tonight, Chris? And of course, what is in your glass?
Denny, it is a lovely day here in Florida, Tampa, Florida. I'm doing okay. But as we already kind of discussed a little, we're in a little bit of mourning here in the city because of our loss to the Colorado Avalanche. But, you know, all is good to be expected. It was a nice day out today. You know, caught some fun animals outside last night, you know, poisonous toad. That was fun. Yeah, he made it to the freezer, so the dogs didn't get him. And that's what Florida Department of Wildlife says you should do with it for all those people that just went, oh my God, you put a toad in the freezer? Yep. But all is good here. I am drinking a beer from Pfriem Family Brewers. There you go.
Nice.
Focus on that. Out of Hood River, Oregon. This is their bourbon barrel-aged barley wine from 2021, coming in at 11% alcohol by volume.
Nice.
And it's a very pretty color. I haven't tried it yet because I was letting it warm up a little bit, but
it looks nice.
It's feeling like it's getting to be about that appropriate color, or that temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot real quick.
Yeah, let's hear about it. Are you breathing fire?
No.
Super smooth?
It's like liquid caramel.
Oh. Is that good or bad, though?
It's good. Not super sweet. There's a little bit of alcohol burn at the back. Like it's almost like like you inhale and you get it. But
okay. Yeah.
Man, super smooth though.
Nice.
I wish I bought 2 bottles. But anyway, that's what I'm drinking tonight. Danny, what about you? How's your day going and what's in your glass this evening?
Well, it is now officially summer because it's 103 and everyone's AC is working overtime to try to keep our houses cool. So I will apologize right now if you lose me in the middle of this thing. We've had a couple power bumps and brownouts that are going on. And I since I've been home, which was only like 30 minutes, maybe 45, we've lost it twice.
Oh,
so
wow.
My fingers are crossed that's it. That's all we're going to do it. But hey, I'm doing good. I'm a little tired, as Chris is, from always partying yesterday. Mm-hmm. Good for you. But I'm not too tired to come chat with my buddy Chris and drink some beer like this one from Payette Brewing, their Flyline Vienna style lager.
That's a good beer.
Yeah, this is a good one. And I got this. I got a 6-pack of this from my wife for my birthday and Father's Day combination, along with some other beers. I've been drinking up a storm, and so I thought I'd go ahead and drink that. And before we do our Partake Brewing Dark Ale tasting, and I have another Sabro Pale Ale from Shaka Sakai that I'm really enjoying too. So I'll be drinking that tonight.
Sweet.
So, but let's get this show started. Before we get too far into it, I always like to tell or let anyone new listening to Tap to Craft know what our show is all about. We are an educational podcast. We focus around celebrating all things craft beer because we want to assist you, our listener, along in your craft beer journey and adventures. And you're listening to episode 207, and we're recording on Monday, June 27th, 2022. And we are live on Facebook and on Twitter. So if you want to see how the beer is made, or at least the podcast is made, you can join us on the Monday before the episode releases and watch us live with video and all of our bloopers and things that, go bumping tonight.
Yeah. Well, there's 4 people on with us. I'm sure 2 of them are you and I, but I see Jeff Seiler is on there. And nice. I don't know who else hopped on there with us, but what are you guys drinking this evening? Since we've got some folks' attention, what are you guys drinking? Along with us.
Yeah, let us know. And of course, we're on this episode, we will be discussing the history of the Belgian Saison style ales, as well as, like I mentioned, the tasting note segment with the Partake Brewing Dark Ale. And of course, you can count on Chris and I having some great conversation along the way. And Chris and I would like to thank all of our Patreon supporters. This episode is brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen, Bill Schlemmer, Kevin and Amanda Argauer, Mark Reedy, Mike Blanchard, Tara Carlson, and Jim Kutzall, who are our virtual producers, and Tom Byrne, Jeff Seiler, Johan Halberg, Chad Lamassa, Mark Church, and Eric Gronley, and Matt Knight, who want to buy us a virtual beer. If you enjoy the content we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your host or buying us a virtual beer or even becoming a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/tapthecraft. And guess what, Chris? We have a voicemail.
Yes.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the voicemail? We never, you know what? We never tested to make sure the volume was adequate. But you know what?
We don't
You don't need to because you've got it nailed, right?
Yeah, I left it basically where we've left it in the past.
Nice.
So if you don't hear it correctly, from my understanding, it's just on your end.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
From the last time, listen, it's right where I left it before. So
let's do it.
Here we go.
Hey, Denny and Chris, it's Jeff in lovely Western North Carolina, Jeff Seiler. I want to leave you some tasting notes so I can get entered in your drawing. I got lucky enough to snag this can of New Glarus Spotted Cow.
Lovely.
And I've had it about 10 years ago. That was before I was out on tap, so I want to go ahead, pop a top on this thing, and see if I can log this baby in. Okay, let's pour it in a glass, see what we got.
Oh, this is real time. You get to hear the pour and everything.
That's right.
Very pretty. Slightly hazy, maybe golden, very nice fluffy head. That looks good. Let's see what it smells like. Not getting a lot. Maybe slight fruitiness. Maybe some citrus.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot. I don't have a great smell detector. But
those
it does smell good. Like citrus is I'm going with. All right, let's go in for a taste.
Let's do it. It's going in.
That's nice.
He's thinking about it.
That is tasty. Mildly fruity, I'd say. Again, I think I'm getting a little citrus. Boy, that's soft. Soft, silky smooth. Goes down so easy. Yeah, that is like a perfect beer-flavored beer. Nice crisp finish. That is so drinkable. Wish I had more than one. Yeah, this is nice. Overall, excellent. I'm going to give this 4 1/4 caps. If I could get this, this would be in my fridge all the time.
Mm-hmm.
This is really, really nice stuff. Okay, there you go, guys. This is an excellent beer. I think Chris has had it. I think Denny said it's on his bucket list. So, Denny, if you can get it, get it. It's delicious.
Or get many of them.
Okay, guys, make it a great show tonight. Good luck. Talk to you later. Cheers.
Well, thank you, Jeff. And I have had Spotted Cow.
Hey.
Sorry.
Oh, we're doing it again.
I just liked it so much. I feel like Jeff should narrate books.
So I think I have had Spotted Cow. It was on my bucket list, and I think somebody treated me to it. I think when my buddy Steve went to Wisconsin, he came back and brought back some New Glarus, but maybe he didn't bring that one back. Now I need to check my Untapped. If Untapped didn't erase my damn.
Listen, you talk so much smack about them doing that to your check-ins.
They are. They're still doing. Like I got on a soapbox on one of my beers I checked in yesterday because I've had so much of this beer and I know I've checked it in and yet it was gone. It wasn't there.
Well, but Denny, I don't believe you've checked it in because you commented on Eric Gronley's check-in back in June of 2020. It said it's still on my bucket list.
Okay.
Your friend did bring you some New Glarus beer, but that wasn't one of them.
That wasn't it. Okay, it's still on my bucket list. So if anyone wants to help me complete a check off on one of my bucket list beers, Spotted Cow would be great. And if I remember correctly, that is a Saison. Is that not correct?
Farmhouse, yeah.
Farmhouse ale?
Well,
Saison,
I mean,
yeah.
it's weird because I saw that as soon as I got a hold of it, and I was like, man, but I hear so many good things about it. I love that beer.
It's got good, a lot of good following of people that really love it. So I'm all for it. But hey,
Jeff and I rated it the exact same
same thing. Okay. Well, Jeff is officially entered into our Frost Buddy contest that we will be giving away on our next episode. You still have time. You just need to get us those voicemails before Monday, whatever day that is. What did I say here? I have the 10th.
Yeah.
The 10th. Before the 10th. On the 10th is last day to submit. The 11th, I think we'll be recording. So get your entries in. Jeff is in, and I'm going to count Matt Knight. He is in as well. If he wants to give us another one, feel free to. But since we're using Matt's idea because he left a voicemail with it and we used it for the contest, Matt's got to be entered into it. So now we've got 2 people.
Yeah, awesome.
The
more people, the better. Because I love giving stuff out. But
yeah. And in case you didn't know what we're talking about, we are giving away a Frost Buddy Universal 2.0 beverage cooler. Universal meaning you can put all kinds of bottles and cans in there, keep it cool, keep your thing warm if you want it warm, whatever you want. Works great. We've already given away one. We're going to give away our second one. We got 2 more. I have an idea for the third one that I'll tell you on our next episode of how you can win that. You'll have to, you'll have 3 months to enter into that one. I have a goal. Yeah,
okay.
3 months.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's all the feedback we've got. But if you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do that at tapthecraft@gmail.com. Or if you'd rather just leave us a little blurb on Instagram or Twitter, you can do that. Just at us at Tap the Craft. Yeah. And of course, Chris wants to interact with you on Facebook at facebook.com/tapthecraft. Go ahead. Hit us up. Even on Untapped, if you want to hit us on Untapped. We don't have a Tap the Craft Untapped account. We have Chris and my own account, which you will hear about here shortly. Well, maybe longly, but we'll give those out to you in case you want to follow us. We do have a lot of followers. In fact, I was out drinking and someone made a comment about the fact that I have a lot of people that follow me. And I'm like, yeah, that's what the podcast does. It creates a lot of friends, a lot of beer drinking friends for sure. Okay, Chris, but hey, let's continue the conversation because now it is time to untap the craft and see what our listeners are drinking according to Untapped.
Well, Denny, you had mentioned you'll find out how to follow us on Untapped, whether shortly or longly. I'm going to be the shortly one. You'll be the longly one. But guys, if you want us to read your check-ins, we read the majority of the check-ins that come in approximately 24 hours before we record our shows. We record every other Monday at approximately 8:30 Eastern time. So make sure you follow me on Untapped, MCK1345, and we can read your check-ins on the show. And we are going to start out with Mr. Tom Byrne, who is checking into a Samurai Cowboy by Western Collective. No notes to go along with this one. It's got a picture there with, I would guess, are his kids.
Somebody's kids.
I hope it's his kids and not just somebody's random kids. But Samurai Cowboy, 4-cap rating for that one. Kevin Page is checking into all kinds of stuff. This one here, I really like the can. It's called Ale America the Beautiful by Hop Butcher for the World. And on the can, it looks like a white wood grain can. And then there is like a painted American flag, and where the stars would be on the American flag, there's 2 hop cones on there too. So that's a really cool picture too. 3 3/4 caps for that beer. But I really do like the can art on that one. Let's see. Tom Byrne's been doing a little bit of drinking too, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Dry hopped Zwicky Pastry Stout Series, Peanut Butter and Banana Stout, by Western Collective too. So it looks like he's getting a little bit of everything in there too. He's also drinking a Kung Fu Cowboys by Payette Brewing Company that he gave 3 3/4 caps to. And Denny, I have to read this one. I know we're like checking into a lot of his, but Quadruple Barrel Big Bad Baptist.
Oh, yeah. That's good. I have a bottle right over here.
From 2018.
Yeah, that's the... Yeah, 2018. That's the one I have too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to check it out. Yeah, that's a great beer. I wonder how it aged. What did he give it?
4.5 caps.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's been doing a little beer drinking over at least the last few hours. Let's see. Moving on up the list. There we go. Kevin Page is drinking a Hop Wave 5 by Equilibrium Brewing. He's drinking that at the Arlington Heights Farmers Market. Gave that one 4 caps for that beer. Robbie is drinking an Aloha Beaches by Low Tide Brewing. He's drinking it at the Obstinate Daughter. So he said beach and summer meets beer. Amazing. The pineapple is subtle and pairs really well with the wheat backbone. 5 cap rating for that one. Drinking some Aloha Beaches. Mike Allen checking in at the Taco Mac with a couple of beers. We've got Western Mutant IPA by Oscar Blues, Dr. Dank by Wicked Weed, and Dank Canvas by Monkey Wrench. All 3 of those getting 3 3/4 caps for his check-ins. Florida Steve is drinking a Breadwinner by Upward Brewing Company. Very sweet for an IPA, he says. Little to no bitterness. 3 3/4 caps there. I'm starting to notice a trend. 3 3/4 caps for people. Let's see. Jeff Seiler, Stone Ruin 10 Triple IPA. So Stone Brewing Company's Triple IPA, one of my favorite Stone beers of all time. You mean Sapporo's beers? Along with the Enjoy
Did you say
by.
that, or did you say
no,
that?
I said that. He said also along with the Enjoy by series. He said big, piney, resinous, and dank notes, raising my glass to all the money Stone just got from Sapporo. Okay, yeah, it was in there anyway. Another independent brewery bites the dust. Hope the beer quality doesn't suffer. 5 cap rating from Mr. Seiler.
Well, it can't get any worse than it already was.
Yeah, it had its moments. It really had.
Oh, yeah.
But the ones he's sticking to and talking about, I mean, it's, if I was going to drink them, it would be either those 2 or the Arrogant Bastard.
Yeah, the Arrogant Bastard is still my go-to. I did like Ruin 10.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that beer. It was a really good one. I haven't had it in years. I don't know if it lives up to what it was originally. Originally that beer was fantastic, but they've changed their recipes on so many of their beers. I don't know if it is the same quality as it was 10 years ago.
All right. Well, there's only one way to find out, Denny.
Buy big beer.
That's fair.
I got to support my independent craft beer breweries.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that it? Do we finish?
No. I'm just.
Okay.
My beer. Because, we have to continue his check-in streak.
Oh, okay. Chad.
Yeah. Chad Lamassa is drinking a Barn Cat's Meow by Manor Hill Brewing. And just like he does, just like I do a lot of times, he picked up this for the can art. The best part is they are donating some of the proceeds to Barks, Baltimore Animal Rescue and Care Shelter, to help some local needy animals. If that wasn't enough, this is a delicious double IPA. 4.5 caps for that beer. And let's see, moving up our list. Got to read it for the name. Robbie's drinking a Sweet Caroline Kolsch by right. Low Tide Brewing Company produced this one. He said they kill it. 2 for 2 for the Low Tide crew so far in South Carolina. 4.5 caps for that one. Mr. Bill Schlemmer is drinking a Patty's Red by Odd Side Ales at a 2S Cottage on Bass Lake. Perfectly balanced Irish red ale, nice malt and caramel notes with a touch of sweetness hits the spot. 4 1/4 caps for that beer. And Mr. Jeff Seiler again drinking a double Lustra Lab by Equilibrium Brewing. Tasty collab from Equilibrium and Dancing Gnome. Tropical and mildly sweet, dangerously drinkable. 4.5 caps for that beer. And that is what everybody's drinking.
Okay, nice. Well, let's continue to drinking. You need a break from that barley wine?
No, I'm sipping it. Denny, if I wasn't monitoring myself, this would be gone already. I mean, this is
it's
all that's
super
left.
easy to drink.
Yeah, this is all that's left in the bottle, and I'm trying to just be
Okay.
gentle with it.
Well,
But
let's
you're
go
so
ahead
good.
and give your liver a break
Mhm.
in your palate. Let's go with this this Partake Brewing Dark Ale tasting note segment. This is our last beer from Partake Brewing, and a couple episodes ago we did have Ted Fleming in here on here. He did provide us these beers, and we did have a good interview and some real good tasting notes. Now, if you remember last episode, I wasn't feeling the red ale. It was really kind of came across to me like it was more like a carbonated tea, like a Earl Grey tea-ish type thing.
I did enjoy that
Yeah.
that black tea flavor that was.
But this one, I will say, they've got the dark down. Look at that. That is dark.
Mm-hmm.
That they're calling it a dark, and it is dark. That is nice and dark. And look, there's even a nice little head on there too. Oh, look at your head. Holy smokes, Chris.
I got that good head, Denny.
You got the big head. I got the nice reasonable head here. Usually I pour like crazy, and it usually overflows, but yeah, that's nice.
Sticking around too. That's just satisfying to watch.
Okay, I'm taking a nose hit. And I do get a little bit of chocolate roast in there, a little roasty chocolateness, just very slight. Not overly strong. I think Chris is trying to using your hat to try to get that in there.
Yeah, I'm using the hat and I'm getting a little swirl.
So that says something, right? It's not overwhelming with aroma. Like it's not just spewing out of there, but there is a very faint bit of dark roast and maybe a little chocolate.
Now there's something I smell in this that I've smelled in every single one of the beers.
What's that?
It's a note that I get from hops a lot. I can't really describe it. Like it's almost, I wouldn't call it vegetal, but I wouldn't call it dank all at the same time. Like I know what you're talking about with the roast, but
yeah, it's a little roasty and maybe a hint of like super light roast coffee, like just a dab of it. And keep in mind, I just took this out of the cooler and I had it out for probably 3 minutes while Chris was finishing up the untapped thing. And so it is a little bit colder. I think when it warms up, it might get a little bit more aroma.
All right. Well, you ready?
Yeah, let's take a sip. Okay. You do get some of that roast in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that it has a lot of watery characteristics up front, right?
Yeah.
So the carbonation is strong in this beer as well.
Mm-hmm.
All the beers we've had from them have a very high carbonation, that way more than normal. This is no exception, and I think that bit of carbonation is also making it feel a little bit watery up front. But there is that hint of dark roast in there.
Yeah, it's definitely in there too. But I'm also, like I said, I'm getting that the same aromas that I get I'm also getting the same like hop flavors too, and that I've gotten in every single one of the beers. It's just more pronounced in some than it is over the other.
Yeah, it has a bit of a what do you say? Cluster hops is what are you using, or nugget hops? Which hop was he using?
It was a C. Wasn't it a C?
Was it cluster?
No, it was. Oh man, I don't remember, but it was a really common one.
Yeah, it was a common one. I wonder if it's just a flavor, because I taste what you're tasting, and it's like a bit of a tanginess to it. Maybe it's some of that. Maybe that's part of that tea character that I got in the red ale last week.
I don't know. I'm kind of curious.
I will say that if you're looking for a non-alcoholic beer that has characteristics of of a dark ale. It's got some.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you're not going to be overwhelmed with flavor in this. It's definitely lower on the flavor scale.
Oh, they're
but it does-
releasing a cherry Gose here shortly too for summer.
Nice. Yeah, the Gose was good. I liked Gose, and I liked the pale ale. I thought that was really good too. But yeah, this isn't bad. Just don't expect a lot. But you do. I mean, it's like after drinking a stout,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've put it down for you've had a sip, and you put it down for a minute or two, and the flavor in your mouth has kind of gone away, but you lick your lips and you taste some of that darkness on it. That's what you taste in this beer, as far as
That's a good way to put it.
as far as the amount of roast that you get out of it. It's not heavy, but it is there. It is there. Now,
and take, I was gonna say, take into consideration, these are non-alcoholic beers. In comparison to the other non-alcoholic beers I've ever tried.
Yeah,
these are, steps higher.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Sarah wanted me to save some of this for. I might have to take a break and just take the glass down to her so she can finish it, just to see what it's like. Because we're going to probably order some of these from Canada or from wherever they're going to send them from. And I wanted to taste them all so we knew which ones to get. I'll let her decide. I think she really liked that pale ale. And I think I might just get her some of the pale, be able to enjoy some non-alcoholic beer.
Because they're so according to Google, and I just clicked into the website for it, Total Wine and More near us, the Total Wine and More that we have, has Partake Brewing on the shelf.
Yeah, because that's what he said he worked through, right?
Yeah.
Total Wine. We don't have a Total Wine in Boise. But we do have Athletic Brewing now.
Do you?
Yeah, that they do provide it. I haven't had any yet. I've been thinking about buying a couple cans. Can you get Athletic Brewing in your area?
No, I don't know. Last time I looked, it was I could order it if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like we could do it for for Partake.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Chris, you want to move on?
Yeah. Did you want to take that down to Sarah?
Okay. I'll just be just a minute to take this down, and I'm going to cover my mic so you don't see my bare ass. No, just kidding.
Didn't wear pants, huh?
I got pants on, but actually I don't care. I put on these shorts that I used to mow the lawn in. Oh, and I froze. There we go.
Oh, you're back.
Okay. So let me go and I'll be right back.
Okay. I'll see if we can't find some Partake near you. Oh, I can't believe he wore those shorts. Jeez, Denny.
All right, I'm back.
All right. The closest place to you that carries it is either Corey's in Spring Creek, Nevada, or you can, when you go back to Bend, if you're going, aren't you going?
I'm going through Bend.
Whole Foods in Bend has it.
Okay. Actually, that's a good idea. Maybe I will do that, and Sarah can have some at the wedding.
Yeah, there's a lot of locations in Bend. Well, 3 or 4 that I'm looking at that has it. But
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for hooking us up.
Sure thing. That's what I did while you were showing us your cool shorts.
It's pretty hot, so threw on some shorts that, maybe a little less, what's the word that you use when you're, I don't know. It's okay. Let's move on. All right. Now it's time for Beer Speak 101, where we briefly define common and not so common beer terminology. And in this episode, we will explain what it means when we talk about phenols. And we've talked about phenols when we talked about our yeast breakdowns. And we mentioned it off and on throughout different shows, but maybe people that are new haven't got the explanation of what these are. So I thought I'd go ahead and talk about it, because we will be talking about characteristics of phenols in our Brew Buzz topic. So you'll hear that some more. So it's a class of chemical compounds perceptible in both aroma and taste. Some phenolic flavors and aromas are desirable in certain beer styles. For example, German-style wheat beers, in which the phenolic components derived from the yeast use, or smoke beers, in which the phenolic components derived from smoked malt. I realized I was totally off pitch with that, but that's okay. You guys get the idea.
Listen, we do that. I do that all the time. Just roll with it.
It's okay.
They don't see what you're reading.
Yeah. In higher concentrations of beer are often due to the brewing water or infection of the wort by bacteria or wild yeast. There's some cleaning agents or even crown and cap linings. So if you have a really strong phenolic flavor that might be an off flavor, it's probably due to some contamination. So that's too bad. Or some wild yeast getting into the beer. But for a lot of beers, these are things that are good, and they try to put them in there. In fact, the Saison utilizes a lot of these phenolic components in the flavor profile, and Hefeweizens as well. Mm-hmm. So phenolic sensory attributes include clovey, herbal, medicinal, or pharmaceutical, or Band-Aid like. Those are, of course, the bad ones. But although you can get some of that in Brett, for example, can give off some of the medicinal and pharmaceutical, or hay or wool horse blanket
Band-Aid
stuff.
I love
Band-Aid, yeah. But typically, if you taste plasticky or Band-Aidy stuff, that's usually not good. So keep that in mind. All right, so there's some phenols. And as I mentioned, it's now time for the Brew Buzz. And the Brew Buzz is devoted to discussing various beer-related topics. This week, we discussed a history of the Belgian Saison style ales. And I pulled this information from 3 different sources. I'll have the links at the end of the show, or in the show notes. You can find those in the link of the whatever app you're using. You'll have a link there. You can go check these out in detail. The first article was Saison, A Story in Motion, found on the Beer and Brewing website, written by Joe Stang. And then I also have Beerology, The History of Saisons, found on Porch Drinking website, written by Sarah Hewley. And What Exactly is a Saison, found on the Hop Culture website, written by John A. Paradiso. So I intermixed a bunch of different content in here, and they all provided some different takes on some of the aspects that I think kind of blended into a nice overall discussion on the history of the Saison. So Saison is much more than a style of beer. It is a family of traditional beers that originated in Wallonia, southern Belgium. Saison, meaning season in French, was brewed at the beginning of winter and conditioned in time for farmhands to quench their thirst during summer fieldwork. Saisons, also known as provision beers, as they were brewed to keep for extended periods of time, were likely brewed from December to March to be consumed from May to September. The Saison recipe differed from farmhouse brewery to farmhouse brewery, as raw materials largely depended on what the brewer had on hand. In reality, those beers would have all been all over the place. Documented evidence is scarce until the late 19th century. Writers paid more attention to urban brewing, while farm brewers would have had little need to keep brewing records. Saison wasn't a common name for the beers out of this tradition until later. However, there is some reasonable speculation about what those beers would have been like, based on the combination of oral history and what we know about brewing in Wallonia in the 18th and 19th centuries.
I love that they had to discern between urban brewing and what
Farm.
might be at the farm.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's to be so many variants of it. All right. So these beers mostly would have been low in alcohol. This is in keeping with the regional preference of the 18th and 19th centuries, and with a taxation system that favored lower strength beers. But in the farming context, it also makes sense. You want to refresh the workers, not intoxicate them.
Exactly.
I was thinking that as you were reading that, I was like, it's for the farm hands while they're, want to quench their thirst. How come we can't just have a beer at work?
Yeah.
No one says you can't, just don't get caught. Not every farm would have brewed, and in many cases, what happened here? And in many cases, it should have been possible to buy provision beer from other nearby breweries. The arrangements likely varied widely over. Neither you and I can read tonight. Try this again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this will help.
I need more beer. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. So we'll get back to this. Man, that's good. All right. Let's see. The arrangements likely varied widely over time. In the 18th century, before the French Revolution, some Wallonian farmers may have had to buy beer from or use the brewery of a local feudal lord. Communal breweries shared by a village continued to some degree in the 19th century and even into the 20th, as did home brewing. Notably, there were also professional brewers who ran farms. Many of Belgium's most prestigious family breweries started out as farms. The image of each farm brewing its own beer is nice, but it may blur the reality with the myth. Some of them certainly did, but perhaps only once or twice per year, hence Beer de Saison.
Yeah.
The ingredients could have come from the farm or been bought or traded among neighbors. It was also possible to buy ingredients from nearby regions, and these might have been of better quality. In some cases, though, brewing may have been a way to make use of excess grain. It surely included, at times, raw grains as well as malted ones. Some rural brewers malted their own grain, but crudely by today's standards. Grain quality, germination, and kilning would have varied and typically would have wound up as a more amber-colored malt. Notably, brown beers were popular in the 19th century. Hainaut. Oh, wait. See?
In 19th century Hainaut.
In the 19th century Hainaut. Often these beers' starting point was a type of 6-row winter barley commonly grown in 19th century Wallonia. Furthermore, accounts of hours-long boils at Belgian breweries of that era are fairly common.
Yeah, and that is interesting because I'm on one of the podcasts that Vienna did. He did an interview of when he went to Belgium, and he interviewed some Belgian brewers and farmhouse brewers, and that was one of the things that was mentioned in the interview is that traditional brewers would have these boils that would last for a long time, right? Just long hours of boil, which is interesting because nobody does that now unless they really want to work hard at getting that beer done. But yeah. Okay, so the yeast would have been mixed strains, like shared and swapped among farmers and brewers, depending on what worked best. This is an incredibly important point because it speaks to a key question. What's the difference between Saison and farmhouse ale? It used to be that we could lazily use the terms interchangeably. However, the emergence of more knowledge in recent years about farmhouse brewing traditions elsewhere, namely in Northern and Eastern Europe, has shifted the whole paradigm. And I mentioned this when we talked about the Kvike yeast and how that is traditional farmhouse ales. And I think some of these Belgian farmhouse ales that were done in farms were more traditional as well, with wild yeast that's around the farm area. And Saison doesn't necessarily need, meet that farmhouse thing if it's not brewed out in the middle of of a farm field and getting those wild yeasts, I think, it should be called more like a Saison. And that's what I kind of switched to. I stopped calling them interchangeable, right? I would say a Saison is a Saison style, and a farmhouse was one that was brewed out in the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Norwegian farm brewers continue the tradition of sharing and reusing their Kvike, essentially a unique and highly effective collection of yeast strains. It seems likely that farmhouse brewers across Europe likely did something similar, including those of Belgium and northern France, as well as other places where the traditions were lost.
Well, Connor, I was wondering when I'm going to see you on here today. He just mentioned open fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Indeed, that sharing of mixed yeast strains may well be a defining trait of farmhouse brewing. That is to say, home brewing, but in a pastoral setting. Now, when we talk about Saison, we're talking about the home brewing tradition that grew out of the farms in a particular region, especially Hainaut, but also wider Wallonia and northern France, and evolved to include some commercial beers that we know today. Saisons are characterized by low alcohol, a light body, effervescent in carbonation, deep golden color, and earthy and fruity aromas abound, while rustic flavors overtake the tongue. That just sounded fun to say. Expect an ester spice taste and supreme dryness.
Yeah. Those are some characteristics of Saisons. We're not going to go deep into the, all the stuff we've done in the past about talking about the aromas and all that. I think that right there gives you a general idea of what the beer style is like. It's going to be a little bit wild. It's going to have in some characteristics might even that wild might even come across as a tartness or sourness, depending on what's going on. Not necessarily all Saisons have that, but some can. And then of course the ester spice, the coriander, some cloviness, some banana, sometimes some banana character from like Belgian yeast as well can be in there. But the key is also that they are really dry beers. And I think that helps just make this beer a refreshing style of beer, especially for guys that are working out on the farm and need to rehydrate, right? It's a great beer for that. Okay. So now let's say you want to home brew a Saison. One of the writers had some suggestions that they wanted to provide to you. So you can take these or you can leave them. And here's what he had to say. Remember the story. Your goal is quenching and rustic. The trick is creating a balance. So you don't want to be on either side of that. You want to have a good balance between the rustic characteristic and the thirst quenching characteristic as well. Skip the spices. I've never had a Saison that was more drinkable because of spices, but I've had many that would have been more drinkable without them. So you don't need to add any spices to them. You just utilize the yeast character and let the yeast work for you, and don't overwork the yeast as well. Don't skip the hops. Many examples I taste are all about fermentation, assertive spice phenols and or fruity esters. It can quickly become too much, especially without bitterness and hop character to balance it. I've heard some say that the yeast is a star of the Saison show. A great Saison is one that manages the yeast hop balance. That is also very true. Nothing's worse than having strong spiciness in your beer with a strong hop bitterness in there as well. It's nothing's worse than having those things fight it out. You need to have the balance. I think the key is figuring out how to balance those two flavors in there. With certain strains of yeast, especially the DuPont strain, it's popular to ramp upward to 90 degrees Fahrenheit to push the yeast through an expected stall in fermentation. It may be harmless, but I don't recommend it. The phenolics can get aggressive and unpleasant. Instead, shoot for each strain's preferred temperature, allowing it to free rise on its own if it wants, and be patient. Yeah, so don't try to rush this thing. Just let it go. And if it stalls out for a little bit, just let it continue. It'll kick back in and you'll be off and running. And the last thing it says is let the yeast breathe. They'll thank you for it. Consider open fermentation. DuPont uses wide, squarish fermenters with plenty of headspace. In Brussels, the same is true of Cine's wide cylindricals. Cylindricals. There you go. In St. Louis, Perennial recently brewed a beautiful classically inspired Saison called High Nut using open fermentation. So yeah, as Connor mentioned in our chat, open fermentation is I think a key to the really special Saisons, right? Letting either controlled yeast that's in the room get at it, or even wild yeast if you're in an area that has some yeast that floats around that can get in there and add that little extra character. I think those make special Saisons that just aren't one-trick ponies, right? It's more complex, and you get a more rich and special beer when you have those characteristics. All right, Chris. So now we've talked about all the Saison, but we're not going to go over to Belgium. These are a list of breweries that produce good Saisons. And this is not an all-inclusive list. This is just a list of ones that you should be able to find at least one of these somewhere in where you live if you're in the States.
And I was going to say, and funny enough, Connor Larson just sent me a picture of a bottle of one of the beers that are on this list.
Okay, there you go.
So you can check out a handful of different breweries, and there's some beers to go along with them. So the Ale Apothecary, they've got the Grisette, Sahali, and Sahati. What's that?
Yeah, hold on. So that I didn't put where these are at, but that's in Bend, Oregon.
Okay.
I can get them here. The problem is that each bottle is like $26 a bottle. So I haven't had the enjoyment of wanting to spend that much money on one of these bottles, just to let you know.
All right. Well, then you got Allagash, which, is out by you, Connor. You've got the Allagash Saison Gratis, and Shiro's Delight. Let's see. Brewery Omegang. They're in Pennsylvania.
Or are they in New York? No.
They're somewhere in the Northeast. I know that much.
Coopertown, New York. Which one's in Coopertown?
Maybe them. That might be them.
Yeah.
Either way. Brewery Omegang has the Hennepin, Saison Rosé, and Saison Traminer. Totally nailed that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Just so you know, most people I think can get Brewery Omegang in their area. They have a wide footprint. Don't hesitate to try that. Hennepin is really good. I like that beer a lot.
Connor said New York. Yeah, I'm with you also. I like Hennepin, and I'm not really a big Saison fan, but as the more I keep saying that and then telling you the Saisons that I do like, it's starting to happen. So next on the list, Burial out of Asheville, North Carolina. We talk about that one enough. You've got the Ceremony of Exhumation, Camp Saison, Blade and Sheath, and the Separation of Light and Darkness. And also had to wave to Megan downstairs, letting the dogs out. Next on the list, we've got Holy Mountain Brewing Company. Not familiar with them at all.
That's in Seattle.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, that's all right. The Goat. Well, it's simple enough. The Seer and Vesper are three from Holy Mountain. Hill Farmstead Brewery
in Vermont.
Yeah, we've got Anna, Arthur, Brother Soigné, and the picture I got a little while ago was La Vermontois. Jester King, they're out of Texas.
That's right.
I remember. Bier de Miel, so that's honey beer. Das Uberkind, La Petite Prince, and Noble King from Jester King out of Texas.
I have a Noble King bottle here somewhere in my office. I just can't see it.
I like the picture that's on the Noble King bottles. The little, I don't know, he's like a little alien creature. If I think that's the same one. Jolly Pumpkin, if I'm correct, they're out of
Michigan.
Is it Michigan? I think it was Canada.
No, they're. I said Michigan, but it might be something close to the Great Lakes states. Now, I said Michigan, but it might be somewhere in Illinois as well.
All right. Well, I just remember that they've had a few that were just too saison-y for me. Dexter,
Well,
Michigan. Good job, Denny.
Yeah, so they really, I enjoy them early in my, well, I won't say early in my craft beer journey, but in the last 10 years, like 10 years ago, I was buying Jolly Pumpkin and I enjoyed it. But the problem is they're always way too sour.
Yeah.
And they have good flavors, but I just can't get through the sourness. And so I had to stop drinking them. But I have a number of their bottles here that I've had for many, many years. And they do make good beer. Just keep in mind, you're going to lose some enamel off your teeth and you're going to have some heartburn afterwards. You might have a hole in your esophagus. Take some Tums.
Take some Tums. Next on the list, Perennial Artisan Ales out of St. Louis, Missouri. No, I'm sorry. We didn't read the beers from Jolly Pumpkin.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We had
Bam Beer. That's really good. Yeah, I have that one.
Baudelaire Beer, IO Saison, and Beer de Mars and Clementina. There we go. Back to Perennial, Distant Land, Prism, and Saison de Lis. Let's see. Next, you got Side Project.
That's out of Missouri.
That's also out of St. Louis, Missouri. So Perennial and Side Project. Side Project's got their Bière de Pays, Noir du Fermier. God, I wish I spoke French at this point. And Saison du Fermier. Fermier.
Now, this is one of the, if I go through Missouri, this is one of those breweries I need to go visit just because they really do some real artisan, sour type Saison and wild fermentation, spontaneous fermentation beers that I want to try. So it's not for everyone, but it's a spot that I definitely need to stop by if I have a chance.
I feel bad reading the last one just because it's in Denver, Colorado. But I got to do it. So True Brewing Company, their list is going to be A Present for Those Who Are Present, Cosmic Crypt, Melissa, and Seven Doors. And then Connor also mentioned Oxbow Brewing in Newcastle, Maine.
Yeah. I had them. I removed some of the ones I had on this list because the list was getting long. And so I put the ones that, again, I think that it allows people from across the states to find one of these breweries and try a Saison.
Did anybody see what Denny just did? He just tried to use the force. Please tell me somebody saw that. These are not the beers you're looking for.
These are not the beers. These are the beers you're looking for.
Yeah, these are the beers you're looking for.
Seek these out. But
Connor, it's the picture of Obi-Wan right over the bar. It's just he's right there. He's right there in the camera. Yeah, he said, "Yep."
Although I lost my Obi-Wan beard.
That's okay.
So
I saw it.
Okay, well, there we go. That is our brew buzz on the Belgian Saison style, the history behind it. I hope everyone enjoyed learning a little bit more about the style that you either love or you hate, or maybe some people are just okay with it, but I love it. Chris, maybe not so much,
learning to love it,
but he's learning to love it. Chalamassa, not loving it, but did have a 5-cap rating Saison this weekend. So it can happen. But yeah, it's just a little history lesson for you guys.
Denny, the t-shirt that we're going to eventually make, it's going to have, it's basically going to be the Tap the Craft logo right in the center. And on the back, it's going to say, if you don't like the style, keep trying them.
Keep trying. Okay. We'll make it. All right. Well, that's our brew buzz. Now it is time for our new and noteworthy beers. Chris, I don't see anything written on you have nothing?
There's a reason for that.
What? No. I mean, you did. I saw you visited Gasparillo today or yesterday or whatever.
Yesterday. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we'll check that one in then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at least one new beer. It may not be super noteworthy.
Okay. But... Well, then we're going to talk about my beer while I waited for pizza from Pinellas Ale Works. Now, the great part about them is the acronym for Pinellas Ale Works is PAW, and all their stuff is dog themed.
Nice.
Pinellas Ale Works is out of St. Petersburg, Florida. So you got to go across the bridge. or have cool places like Gasparilla Pizza and Growlers
That's
to,
right.
to sell it while you sit there and wait for your pizza.
That's right. That's right.
So I had their milk bone stout yesterday, just a super simple, easy drinking milk stout. Nothing better to do while I wait for my pizza. I guess
bone.
I'll have a beer while I wait. It was my check-in. That's how you know it was good. I actually wrote notes for it.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 3/4 caps for that rating or for that beer too. And I'll admit I did have another one the other day, but man, this one hits me right here too, because it was what I checked in for the Lightning winning game 5. So it was Cigar City's Medusa merger, which was a 4 cap rating from me. This was also out of their El Catador series. This was a barley wine aged in ruby port wine barrels with raspberries and cherries. Didn't really get raspberries, but definitely got some cherries out of it. And then the tannins from the skin in the cherries definitely came through. But
okay.
I've been enjoying some barley wines lately. So it's
good.
Pretty good. Because it's summer. Why not have some barley wines? I mean, hell, I'm doing it right now.
It's hey, you got new AC in your house. You're cold. Warm up with some barley wines.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll type those in because that's
all right. I appreciate it.
And then you can tell us about your new and noteworthy beers, Denny.
Yeah. I have had a lot of beers. No 5s, but these were all 4.5 cap rating beers. 3 of them.
Oh,
altogether.
Before you get into that,
yeah.
This is a 5 cap.
There you go. Yeah.
I'll get that one in there too.
Get that. Yeah.
I don't know why, because it's
because you're drinking it now.
That's all that's left. And gosh, I don't want this to end.
Well, it's still, you just keep sipping. Yeah. Baby sips. Okay. So, but I'll talk about 3 beers that I did rate a 4.5 cap rating on. And the first one is from Western Collective. They're here out of the Boise area. And it's it's I don't know, a Central American word, Oaxaca.
Shaka. Wait a minute. Where'd you go?
Oaxaca.
Oh, it's
Shaka.
Oh man, this
or Shaka. Shaka. Is that what it is? It's Oaxaca. I need Robert, chew your beer, to help pronounce it.
It's probably gonna be like Oaxaca or something.
Oaxaca.
It's a city in I know it's a city in Mexico.
Okay.
Oh,
Oaxaca,
here you go.
Shaka.
Here you go. Oaxaca.
Okay. Oaxaca. Shaka.
Shaka.
It's a lime Gose. And all I said about this, great Gose with a margarita theme. It was really it was like a margarita themed Gose. And I really enjoyed it. I drank a whole 16 ounce pint of that sucker. And I gave it a 4.5 cap rating. And the beer tender came over and said, "Oh, you want another sour?" I said, whoa, no, I can't do 2 sours in a row. That would kill me. So I went ahead and had something a little different. I had a Hawaiian punch. No, it was called Love Punch. And it was a tropical Hefeweizen. Never had a tropical Hef before. And I'll tell you what, it was actually pretty good for what it was. So that was my beer after that one. And then I went with the Firestone Walker Velvet Merlin.
Always a classic.
Yeah. And man, that was so good on nitro even. And I'm not a big nitro fan, but oh my gosh, that beer is really good on nitro. It has enough flavor to make it work. Okay, I got sidetracked. I wasn't talking about those. Okay. The next beer I'm going to talk about is from another local Boise brewery called Lost Grove Brewing. It's the perfect golf ale, and it's a Kolsch. And I just said it's a very tasty Kolsch, 4.5 cap rating. See, I'm going quick here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last beer that I will talk about is from Boneyard Beer. That's a Bend brewery. I talk about Boneyard all the time. And this is Hop-a-Wheelie American IPA. And I said, great flavor, big, bright hops, 4.5 cap rating. See, sometimes I don't go crazy on my description. Now, often I do, but because all those beers, Hop-a-Wheelie was on my birthday. and Father's Day with I went to I got invited over to my friend Corey's house. We celebrated over there playing cornhole and drinking way too much, but hey, it's my birthday, so I can do what I want. And I brought this over. Oh, damn.
What'd you do?
No, Siri was trying to, I must have hit Siri's button. She was talking to me.
She loves it when you hit her button.
Yeah, I hit that thing.
Dimitri, what beer were you talking about? Dimitri Shestakov said that one was amazing.
Oh, Dima. Dima, hey, welcome, buddy. Happy birthday. I have a shout out at the end of, right, you caught me right in time to finish this beer and then wish you a happy birthday. So that was perfect timing. But Dima was here. He was helping me. He's been helping me with some stuff for work.
Love Punch. Yeah.
Love Punch. Yeah. And he came and he was here for a week last week. And before he left, we went and had a few drinks and had a great time. And really the beer tender was really, every beer she recommended for me, I said, yeah, give me a pint of that. Why not? She gave me a little taster. Didn't even hesitate to give me a taster. And then I tried it. I'm like, yeah, let's do a full pint. And I did all 3 beers she suggested I drank a full pint of because it hit the spot.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, welcome, Dima. And like I said, happy birthday. So that's my new and noteworthy beers. Chris, as I just hinted at, it's the end of the show. It's time to close this thing out so we can get on with our evenings. But before we do that, it's always a good idea to go ahead and lift a glass to who you'd like to lift a glass to tonight. So who would you like to raise your glass to?
Well, Dima said she got 3 for 3. So,
yeah.
But I would love to raise my glass to another person with a birthday today. My nephew, Jake. Cheers to you, buddy.
Cheers, Jake.
Jake is 27 today. So cheers to you, buddy. And hope you had an awesome day.
Nice.
Denny. You've talked about it. Who would you like to raise a glass to?
Yeah, well, second, I guess. Patreon toast to Mr. Bill Schlemmer. Thank you for your support, Bill. We really appreciate it. And as I already mentioned, my buddy Dima, who came to Boise to help us with some work projects. We had some beers, had a great time. I'm still trying to get him to move from Texas to Boise to come work here full time, so I can, we can spend time drinking and having a good time. But it's in the works. But that, and then I am going to my niece's wedding this week. I leave Thursday to drive to Oregon. I will be going through Bend. I will be probably drinking some Bend beers on the way, going to the wedding, visiting my family. And so I'll be doing that this weekend. So cheers to my niece on her wedding here soon to be. And of course, being a former serviceman, I always want to raise my glass, thank all those who have served and who are currently serving in the U.S. military services, protecting our freedoms. Thank you, and please return home safely to your families very soon. And Chris, why don't you go ahead and give a toast out to our sponsor?
Want to raise a glass to the folks over at Frost Buddy. They specialize in cooling containers for your beverage of choice. Frost Buddy has the Universal Buddy 2.0, which is the world's first universal can cooler for 12-ounce cans, slim cans, bottles, and even 16-ounce cans. Frost Buddy also has the world's first universal wine cooler, 24-ounce stainless steel mugs, and even stainless steel dog bowls. Go visit their website at frostbuddy.com.
And you can find the beers and links to the articles mentioned in the show in the show notes located on the show post at tapsofcraft.com. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Untapped at Loose Screw. And Chris, how can our listeners follow you?
Well, if you're a business that I'm talking smack about, you can find me on Twitter at Chris_McKenzie82. But other than that, you'll never find me on there. Or you can find me on, so professional. Thank you, Connor. Yeah, I go into radio mode when I start to read our sponsor stuff. You can find me on Untapped and Instagram at MCK1345. Or you can always interact with us on everything social at Tap the Craft.
All right, it is last call. It's time to bring the show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading and listening, and we ask you to please tell a friend. And of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And as a reminder, we release a new show every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.